Great schools are built by those who came before us. Doyle KERSEY, I am grateful for you. You've been at our school for 30 years. You were at our school before we were even Boulder Country Day. And to have someone like you who is able to be what I would call our institutional memory, but also the heart and soul of what we do is truly remarkable.
There have been a lot of people that have come through the doors here. Parents, faculty, students. It's been my whole life. And I'm gonna choke up, but I think what has held true is the common values that I learned when I first came here. And it's more than a methodology, it's more like a philosophy of how you treat children and how you educate children.
Everybody realized it wasn't working out so well with the person who was in charge of CARDEN, and somebody had to step in and, bring in some money, which I believe was Peter Williams. You're trying to get everybody to come together and say, hey, let's save the school. I want my kid to stay in the school. I want my kid to go into Mr. KERSEY's class. I want to be there and help.
There's nothing like a cause that everybody can rally around. Parents were really involved, and they wanted the school to succeed just like the rest of us.
Doyle KERSEY was absolutely a 10. He was incredible with all the children. Even the little tiny kids knew who Mr. KERSEY was.
One of my favorite impressions of Doyle was we were doing acrylics, I think, and he donned a trash bag and came in and sat on the floor and did art with the kids.
When we were at the KALMIA location, we were able to do a lot with just a small space because the square footage was the size of our gym today. We had just a dirt field, and children managed to make it into a playground. Right after we became Boulder Country Day, and we had such participation from parents, somebody decided they were going to donate and put in grass.
You really did know everyone because you saw them always when you were picking up or dropping off.
People were just close. We sat in parking lines together, so we knew each other and had the same goals.
A family can be more than just blood. This school is truly a family that is so much larger than we could ever provide our children with.
You see that little bulldog on people's cars as you're driving down the street these days, and we get so excited and we're like, oh, a BCD family.
It truly is an unbelievable community. Everybody works together. There's just this sense, like when you're walking through the halls, of togetherness, almost like a family.
When we decided that we were going to move and the city wanted us to move, we looked at all kinds of spaces, and finally this land became available.
The parents saw the need for more space and for a new campus, and when Mr. KERSEY and some of the other board members and staff members asked for donations for this campus, they were so generous. It was that spirit of, we need to get this done.
Something you may not know, the property was actually sold to us at well less than market value by Scott Patton and Ed McDowell, a couple of gentlemen in town whom Kay has worked with and for more than 30 years.
Coming to the site, it was just dirt and a little bit of grass, and having a groundbreaking, and all of a sudden there were different buildings and lots of space.
It was almost like a frontier barn raising event. Instead of paying for somebody to do all the work, we made it a community service project. And we had parents that were lawyers and doctors and radiologists out there digging holes and carrying dirt. And it really bonded the parents with the school, with the soil, with their children. It was sweat equity.
Moira had a very nice attitude with all of the children. She seemed to be very tuned into the children, and she certainly was, educated. and had a kind of a European attitude. And she would also do assemblies where the children could do free dancing, and they were very interpretive. It was like watching, modern dance in New York City.
I can't tell you the feeling that I had the first time I saw one of my children up on that stage at 5 years old, singing a Broadway play. That presence on that stage started a process through the years at Boulder Country Day of being able to get up in front of people and say and do things that stands them in good stead today, whether they're giving an audit as a CPA or a presentation to a federal judge.
Fran came into the school at a very difficult time. She was a very bright businesswoman and came in and helped the school stabilize. She was instrumental in bringing Scott Alexander into the school as well. And Scott, we're sitting in a building that bears his name, created a lasting legacy and a lasting change in what the Boulder Country Day School was all about. One of the other parents that also got actively involved at that point in time is Scott Moore. And as I assumed the board chair role, he assumed the treasurer role. Through Scott's leadership, as well as Bob Akins and Anne Marie Toohey, they really did a nice job in managing the finances.
I think the core of any educational institution is the people that make up the institution itself. Faculty members, the camaraderie that they develop.
We try to encourage our students to be lifelong learners, and the best way to do that is have our faculty model that.
What makes this school great are its teachers. The most important thing that happens here is that relationship between our kids and their teachers.
Mike Shields holds a very special place in this school's history. Mike took what was an education and truly created a culture.
He was the perfect guy at the perfect time. He came in here and brought his cool, calm Southern demeanor and took us over the rocky shoals.
And we used to jokingly kid that we got a twofer because Rowie, his wife, worked so hard. And he just had that sort of friendly family spirit, and he was a world-class educator.
So I first got a chance to meet Mike Shields in the fall of 2012, and one of the things we decided at that point was that I would appear with him at our annual gala in the spring of 2013. And so Mike and I were the Blues Brothers, and I knew from that moment that this school was the right fit for me.
John has done a really good job of holding on to the soul that Mike created and allowing it to evolve and grow into the school that we see today.
I see John Suitor having brought some amazing gifts to Boulder Country Day. He has a huge body of experience working in the private school sector. He's been an amazing person to work with. He communicates well with parents and staff and trustees. He's a dynamic leader, and he is a forward thinker.
One of the strengths of our school is that our Board of Trustees in particular has shepherded it so well for the past 30 years.
The financial foundation is much more solid than it's been in the 30-year history of the school. Now you can dream bigger.
One really good example of a character trait that I think BCD's given our children is to understand that the sum is greater than just you individually. A really good example of that is the Bulldog families. To see an 8th grader holding a kindergartner's hand as they walk across the playground with no fear, with no insecurities is really empowering.
I Am a Bulldog speaks first about loyalty and enthusiasm. It's about identifying yourself beyond just self and being part of something bigger. We are a school that both honors tradition and is interested in innovative, creative ways of educating our students.
What sets BCD apart from other schools is it's an elite education without the elitism.
The best way that BCD prepares students for work in the future world is not teaching students what to think, but how to think.
Liberal arts curriculum and the ability to excel at math and at the same time participate in a school play, be in a band, travel, and have a wide variety of experiences.
The greatest gifts BCD has given our children is valuing whatever superpower they each have. And they're both completely different human beings, but yet they leave the door every day feeling equally intelligent and powerful and confident.
This is a great place to prepare kids for their future. Academically in particular, they know how to work, they know how to study, they know how to get up on a stage and speak in public. They don't shrink from the moment.
There are so many gifts that BCD gave me, but I think if I have to pick one, I would pick my writing skills. As a lawyer and an advocate, I use my writing skills every day, whether it's just writing an email to a colleague to convince them that my planned course of action is the right one, or submitting a brief to the UN.
BCD really instilled in me a sense of purpose, understanding yourself and your skills and kind of what you're here to do and what you're really good at and how does that impact the world around us.
BCD's motto is respect yourself, respect others, and take responsibility for your actions. And that means to me, be the best person you can be. And I feel like I've lived with that motto for so long that it's just come so naturally to me now.
The most important lesson that I've learned at BCD is probably to be globally minded, because caring for other people is something really important that you need to know how to do.
We drop our children off, and there was a sense of trust that your child would be nurtured and loved until you pick them back up. Not only are our children become really nice young adults, their friends that are BCD graduates as well are really outstanding young human beings.
The most important thing that I think that Boulder Country Day did for my kids when they were little is that they had a peer group of outstanding young people, and it set the moral compass for them for the rest of their lives.